What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you win from within. The theme for today is sales is life. Now, before anybody that's like, sales, I'm not into sales, I promise you what we are going to talk about, it is not what you think. It is not tactics. It is not closes. It's not objection handlers. This is an incredible conversation that it's so good, not just for sales, it's great for life. And you're going to love the energy of the gentleman I'm going to bring on. Kayvon Kay is a two-time 2CCX award-winning sales strategist, best-selling author, and founder of a multi-seven-figure business. He's helped clients generate over $340 million in revenue by mastering sales psychology, building repeatable systems, and leading with high performance, all while emphasizing work-life harmony. Kayvon, what's up, brother? I know we could have sat there talking off air, but I figured we may as well hit record and do this, man. How you been?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we were talking about, and not that it's about, but we were literally talking about the simple thing that made this huge switch. And I told you we're going to do a theme for the show, and sales is life is what I said, because you're an expert at sales. But I find it fascinating. We were talking about the social media thing, and it was like this simple fix made the biggest impact. It's kind of we see that a lot in sales too, where people are making these big like this little mistake, and you tweak it, and these massive changes happen.
Yeah. So where do we go from there? Because we talk about, I think it's misleading because they don't know what we're just talking about. So we're just talking about social media and how. In my case, I spent thousands and thousands of dollars month after month, team after team, to try to get my social media to take off. And one little simple tweak, again, we call it simple, but strategic and proven format, we'll call it, right, was the one little thing that people would see that took off, and it did. So when we talk about sales, that one little thing that I believe in sales, it's not, I'll tell you right now, it's not the product. It's not the offer. And this is me assuming like the product's already selling, the offer's already selling, right? Like it is always 100% the person on the phone selling. Sales is everything. We talked about this. Sales is life, 100%. Everything. Here's the reality. Everything you want, people always say, how can you say that? It's like everything you want in your life's a sale. Everything. Then everything you get is your commission. It's just like you're either selling people your ideas, your stories, your thoughts, your voice, whatever, selling your kids, selling, that we talk about, like selling your wife, like whatever it is, or they're selling you. I mean, if you really look at it, that's what it is. But if we go deeper down to that, okay, so if everything comes down to you, which I believe is the most important thing in sales, then what does that mean? And what it comes down to is you are a direct reflection of the results you get. If you don't like what you're getting, so if you don't like the communication, so the sell, the way that you're communicating with your wife, or you don't like the way your wife, I should say, is responding to you, you're not getting the things that you want from your kids, that is a direct reflection of how you are operating. It's a direct reflection of your tone, your energy, how you're showing up, how you're using your cadence, and how you're getting your message across. That to me is sales. We don't have to say it's sales. People are like, it's not selling, that's communicating. Okay, sure. But really, it's a form of sales because sales is communicating, right? And I believe, truly, the deepest, hardest, most impactful communication sales you can do is the one on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Was this a natural thing for you getting to the sales? Because for me, I believe sales is life. I love sales. I am like, yeah, man, this is what, and I love the true meritocracy that a sale is, right? Like you said, look in the mirror, bud. If you didn't get the sale, it's on you. If you got it, by the way, it's on you. I think, to me, I love that. I love the fact that I can say, I am 100% responsible for moving forward, or I own the fact that they didn't move forward, but it's on me. It has nothing to, and so many people will argue this, Kayvon. They'll be like, no, dude, you don't know. And then the sob story comes out, right? Let me tell you why.
The sob story. Yeah. The victim mentality comes out for sure. Well, I have the concept. I mean, I have my training, my methodology. I train, and it's called human-centric selling, right? And it's broken down into 3 parts. But the first part is what I call is get your house in order. And getting your house in order is really getting your mind in order, getting your spirit in order, getting your values in order, all those things in order. Because if they're not, you're never going to be a great salesperson. But you said something, you were going to ask the question, I think, is sales something that is, people always ask, are salespeople born or are they made? I say it's both. I say you can have let's say a natural salesperson, but if they don't work on their skill, if they don't get their shit together, if they don't work on the craft and get the experience and do the hard work, they're not going to be a great salesperson. Versus someone who maybe wasn't born with that little extra, je ne sais pas, let's call it the little extra, what people call as the gift, but they're hardworking, they show up, they're resilient, they're willing to put in the experience, they're going to do better than the person not. So, there's always people want to expect this black and white. Yes, they're born. No, they're not. No, they're created. But if you have a natural ability towards it and you create it for yourself, yeah, you just have a little bit of a competitive advantage for sure. But that doesn't mean you don't get to work hard. You don't put in the time. You don't fix yourself first. And that's the hardest thing is most salespeople, again, through all my experience now, I see it. More sales training. You need to bring in the trainer. You need to bring in the more systems. Better, none of that matters. If you do not get your own house in order, none of that other stuff matters. They'll work for a little bit, but they don't work long time. And that's why most sales training, I'm not sure if you probably don't know this, that 85% of most sales training is forgotten in the first 30 days and then after 90 days, it's not even implemented. It's like it's never even happened. Well, why? The question is, well, why? Well, because the sales training is falling on what I call as deaf ears, on broken people, on broken souls, on people who haven't done the hard work internally first so that they can sell from a place of alignment and sell from a place where they can actually authentically connect to the audience and to the, we're going to call them this prospect, the client, whatever it might be. Because deep down, I'll just finish this so we have somewhere to go. Sales comes down to this. It is just a transference of energy and connection. That's all it is. It's a transference of energy, your energy. And if you don't have the right energy, how are you going to create the great conviction, the clarity, the certainty of energy to the prospect? And if you're not connected to who you deeply are and connected to what you're doing and what you're actually providing and how you can actually help people or how you can solve problems, how could you ever connect to the prospect in an authentic way where you can actually have a great conversation that creates energy of good and connection of great? It doesn't work.
Well, you just destroyed so many people. They're going, oh, great, bro. The billions of dollars that we have literally spent on the sales training is gone. 85% in 30 days, I think you said.
It's gone. Yeah. It's forgotten.
Ouch. So every one of the executives listening is like, great, this is why sales training is bullshit. And then the other side of it, I love what you, at the end, it's like, look, it doesn't have to be this way. If we actually connect, if there's a transference of energy, and gosh, here's the best part. He didn't say tactics, you guys. He didn't say objections, sales tactics. Let me give you this badass close. He didn't say any of that. He said authenticity. He said connection. And this is where I want people to understand. Sales is not dirty. It's the other guys pushing this. Let me give you the best close ever.
Yeah.
Let me give you the objection handler. That's the gross sales thing. That's not what Kayvon said. And the human-centric. So you gave us part of number one. I'm excited to dive into the rest. But I think I want people to hear this. Is like, this is why I call sales is life. You talked about authenticity and you talked about connection. That's not what most people think when you say sales. They're like tweed jacket, cigar smoking.
Yeah, we're talking about the 80s
salesman,
used car salesman. I actually have a keynote I talk about how sales, like I started off with like sales is evil. Right? And everyone just kind of laughs. And it's like, well, no, like people thinks we like somewhere along here's where the keynote kind of goes is like sales wasn't actually always evil. In fact, the origin of sales comes before Babylon, the pyramids. I mean, sales was what drove the economies. There was the traders trading. It was the, it was the barters bartering. It was the life. It was the lifehood of society. We brought what ideas and thoughts and experts from then and there to here and now. But somewhere along the way, it got lost. And I believe it got lost, 70s and the 80s, definitely 80s, with the used car salesman, what you're talking about. In the 1950s, I'll tell you about this, again, going too much into it, salespeople were actually 70% respected and trusted. 70% of the population trusted and respected salespeople. Today, 10%. It's like the floor fell from underneath us. Back then, you would knock on someone's door. They would invite you in. They give you tea. They give you cookies. They wanted to hear what you have. Now, they don't even open the door. They slam you in the face. They put a gun in the States, they'll put a gun in your face, right? But the question is, well, why? So we got to ask the question, well, why? Well, what happened? Where did this change? And I believe it changed through, just like you said, the idea of these sleazy sales trainers, sleazy people always teaching tactics. And then NLP came out and trying to convince people, and indirectly all these things that I just think made sales sleazy. But what's great about this, I think, in the world that we live in today, with the trust being at 10%, that means like nobody really trusts salespeople. Heck, this is the worst part. Salespeople don't even trust their own kind. That's a problem. You know what I mean? It's like the doctor not trusting the doctor. So, but we live in this world now where, okay, that's true. So it's really weeding out the good to the great salespeople. It's weeding out the people who are just in it for the money versus what we say is in it for the commission instead of the mission. And for me, when you can get fully in alignment of what you're actually doing. So when you talk about tactics and tricks, we talk about the one-line objections and how to do this and all that, those are all important. Like those come, but they don't do anything without the foundation. And in the foundation is you internally. So you wanted to see, I know you said you're interested, like what were the other two? The second one for me is called intimate relationships. In intimate relationships, well, what does that look like? It actually means caring about the person. Mm-hmm. An intimate relationship means you actually listen to hear, not listen to respond. I mean, I'm just waiting for you to tell me something so I can just think about the objection. Hey, it's me. And I tell everybody I speak to, I'll tell you this. When you put yourself first, you will always end up on the bottom. When you put your prospect first, you'll always end up on top. And putting your prospect first, here's a kicker. You'll never hear from a sales trainer. Meaning sometimes saying no. Meaning you don't close everybody. If you came to me and you're like, I want you to close everybody, you're not for me. Because I can guarantee you're not going to give me 100% of the right prospects. And I'm not closing everybody. I'm not closing people on things they don't need or they're not going to serve them, because I believe we live in an abundant world. And there's enough people who need the service or the product or whatever it is that I am offering that will actually solve their problem. So why would I not focus on those types of people and make it bigger than all of us? See, that's the thing. It's always bigger than me. It's always bigger than me. It's always bigger than the product and the offer. It's always, to me, which you'll hear people say, don't sell the features and benefits, you sell the outcomes. Okay, but what are those outcomes? How important are those outcomes? What do those outcomes actually do for the person, for the environment, for the business, for whatever the situation is? What are the stakes by not actually changing? That's a big one that people don't realize either. Example, I have a client who helps the number one legal narcissist lawyer in the country and helps people to deal with narcissists, right? And my team, they're so hell bent on like the product and this and that, and I'm like, every day I'm like, guys, it's not about the product at all. It's a fact that what happens as a result when someone comes through the product. For those that can't see me, right, doing the quotes, right? When they come through the product, what is the end result of that? Okay, well, now they know how to deal with a narcissist. They get their power back. They're actually, people don't know this, the lawyers don't give a shit. And if you don't give them the right information about what's going on, they don't care. They're just going to get the information you give them. So if you're giving them information from a beat up person where the narcissist runs your life, holds you, controls you, and beating you down and make you feel less than, and now you're dealing with a lawyer who's probably a narcissist themselves, and you're trying to give them information, what kind of information are you giving them to help you win in court? I don't think you'd give them the winning information. You'd give them the beaten, broken down information. So when you come to us, and not only do we show you how to get your power back, but we also show you how to leverage the legal system and how to actually communicate properly with your lawyer and be able to get the facts and the figures and everything you need to actually put it all on paper to show the narcissist traits and where they're actually showing up every day. Now, when you give that to the lawyer, do you think you have a chance of winning?
Yeah.
Does that mother or the husband, whoever it is, who's dealing with the narcissist, who's been beaten down, not feeling good, is afraid to open their mouths, afraid to even have a thought, now has thoughts, now in their highest power, now being able to be a better father, a better mother, a better employee? Does their life change? Now, when they're operating like that and they're standing in the courtroom, and now they have energy in the courtroom, the court and the judge and all the lawyers are looking at them, do they have a better chance of showing their story? And showing up with confidence and conviction. And that confidence and conviction gives them a way better chance of winning the damn case, yes or no?
100%.
So does it really matter what we're selling? Does it matter if it's 5 days a week or 2 days a week or if it's this system? And it doesn't. To me, I'm always like, my end goal is to make sure they win that case and they're standing in their highest power so they can get their life back and get it back on track.
Yeah. Fascinating, brother, because this is not a typical sales training. This is not what you and I am sure have read many sales books, or at least I certainly have. But that's not what was, I guess, maybe it was the 80s, the 90s, and even early 2000s where, somebody's got this idea of, well, I have this really good close, man. It's so good.
There's a straight line system, the hardcore close. And they work. Here's the thing. They worked because they worked on numbers.
Right.
But meaning, how many dead bodies did you have to go walk over before you got to the one, right? For me, I've always been more of like a system, and kind of why have so many calls with so many wrong people? Why not try to figure out, have the right calls with the right people and offer the right product to the right audience so everybody wins? And that's the thing in sales. I don't want to go over it. I'll tell you right now. The thing in sales, all those old tricks and tactics and this and that, I believe it comes from, again, the internal, right? The internal belief that there's a win-lose in sales or a lose-win in sales. But that's not true. I actually truly believe in sales. It's a true sale, and a good sale is a win-win. Everybody won. Everybody's happy. If you win, they lose, that's not a good sale. That means there's going to be refunds. People are going to be upset. How do you sleep at night? The opposite. If they win, you lose. That means you gave away the kitchen sink. You didn't own your own power, and you probably bent backwards for them just to make a deal happen. How is that okay?
Yeah, it's like a relationship, right? It has to be a win-win. Otherwise, it's long-term. It's not going to work. I'm curious for you, brother, how did you discover some of this stuff? Because I know for me, again, financial services where I grew up in the world of sales. Technically before that, I guess my first job was at Spencer's Gifts. I don't think my audience knows this. Spencer's Gifts in college, that's when I actually learned to sell. Now, I learned what not to do when I got into financial services. I watched my mentor. I just followed and did everything opposite of what he did because it was so, as the kids would say, cringe. Yeah. I mean, dude, it was just like, no, I'm not doing that because that's not authentic. I need to look in the mirror, be proud of who I am. Where did you learn your system of being authentic, of listening, of having this outcome? Where are we going? Where did you figure this out?
So for me, that's a really good question. And like, I hate to put it just on something you can't have in one word, but it's called experience, right? But let's deep dive into that, because everyone can just say, oh, experience. That doesn't give anybody any knowledge. So here's what happened. How did I get into sales? I always believed that, like, from grade 1, I was put into the position. Why? In grade 1, they written me off from like not the sob story. They written me off the school system. They said I had ADD, ADHD. They said I had an LD, meaning a learning disability, in reading, writing, math, and communication. Well, what the hell was left? Phys ed? So right away, I got in this defensive kind of have to sell my mode. I have to sell these people wrong. They don't know me. They don't know what's going on. So I always had that kind of thing developed in me, right? And then I naturally leaned into sales, and then my uncle was in sales and I followed him a little bit. And then my first job was sales, and I always went that way. But in my early 20s, I would listen to the books, the Zig Ziglars and the Tom Hopkins, and I would listen to all their sales training, and I learned it and I would adopt it. So I learned how to be a good salesman tactically and technically, and learn how to handle objections. But through time, what would happen is, especially when I got onto phone sales with high ticket offers, which my specialty in is like, how do I close a $10,000 or $20,000 offer to a consumer who's never even spent $1,000 in their lives? Now we're trying to ask them $10,000 for something that they don't even know it's going to work or not, right? What happened was I'd have really good weeks, and then I have bad weeks, and then I do really, really well, and then I had it just, and it was like, what is going on? And so I had to do the hard work to first figure out, like, I was always thinking it was this one thing I said, or how did I say that? And I was always looking at the tactics. And until I took a step back and I actually just realized, who was I being on that call? How was I sounding? What was I actually, when a call was successful versus not, but I'm using the same script, the same type of lead, the same offer, why is the sale not happening? Oh, because the lead. Okay, well, I can't control the lead. So what can I control? So I started listening, and then I started writing, and then I started actually journaling and being like, how did I feel today? Right? Like what? And I realized, holy shit, like the days I feel good, I feel confident, I feel conviction, I sell like a maniac. The days where I'm pissed off at everybody, or I hate life, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just going through the motions, I'm not selling. So it's not the words that are changing, it's what's changed. Shit, the energy. Okay, whoa, wait a minute. Well, where's that energy coming from? Oh shit, it's coming from me internally. Oh, from what? Oh God, now I got to go do the one thing nobody wants to do. I got to look within, which I call the mirror method. Sits right in front of you. You got to look at the mirror because you are a direct reflection of the results you get. But most people are not willing to do that. So for me, you say you don't hear a lot of sales trainers do that because because I'll tell you why. Because they want the bait. They want people to follow them, and salespeople don't want to hear what I'm saying. I don't care because that's who I am, but they don't want to hear what I'm saying because they don't think that's the problem. They want to hear the next best objection. They want to hear the best salesperson say the best objection liner because it's sexy, and I get it. It's clickbait. It is sexy. It's great when it works. But you saying it from a place of conviction and a place of belief and a place of where I say it versus you saying the same thing from where you're coming from, you're going to get two different results.
What's cool about this, guys, is he's talking about the transfer of energy, and we have many things in the way that he was talking about on the phone, but he's still talking about energy. This is how important this is. And I love where you're going with this because for years, I've tried to teach so much of what you're talking about to my teams about this transfer of energy. So for instance, right now, this is not an ideal sales situation. We have teleprompter, a camera, things that are blocking us. However, we still are transferring energy, right, wrong, and different, good or bad. This podcast is going to go well because we are creating great energy, or it's going to go poorly because of what we brought to the table. And what he said, you guys, I want everybody to hear this because I don't care if you're in sales or you're a teacher or you're an attorney.
Life.
Correct. He's talking about the baggage that you had. Are you bringing that to the next door, the next opportunity? When you come home from work, are you bringing that baggage along with you and then transferring that at home? And this is why I say sales is life. This is exactly what he's talking about. And it's so powerful. I want people to hear it so they can check that stuff before they go to their next opportunity, their next meeting with their spouse or kids. You always have to be checking in on what kind of energy am I bringing to the table.
Absolutely. And if you're an emotional creature like I am, who I'm just naturally more emotional, those things become more problematic, and they become more, hurdles that you have to go over, on walls that are being built up. So because I think about that, I think about people who are true CEOs, right? True CEOs. They are so good at separating like their personal life and like not letting their what's going on at home affect the workplace, right? They can put that wall up a little bit, and they just do it a little bit of a higher level. But still, even when they're doing that, they're still operating from that place of what is going on at home or what's not working or what they're not happy with, or the most important, what they're running away from. See, most people think they're running to. They're not running to, or they're running away from. And if you're continuously looking and trying to run away from, thinking you're running to, that's where you get depression. That's where you get people that are unhappy. That's where you get people in jobs that they shouldn't be in. That's where you get people become complacent. That's where you get people getting addiction. I mean, we're not going to go through all that because I don't want to go down that road, but that's where that really comes from, because they're actually just running away from the one thing they need to address. But the one thing they need to address is hard. It's scary. And most people don't even know the trauma they have as a child, no matter how big, small that trauma is. We all have different. And here's the thing. It's not, well, that person had a worse life than I did, so I'm okay. No, but you still had a trauma that you are programmed by that is running your subconscious, that is now running your life. And if you don't fix your little trauma that you want to match to someone else's bigger trauma, it doesn't matter, because that person with the bigger trauma who got fixed is going to win. And the reason I say this, and this one gets a lot of people upset, but it's just, you can't deny facts and you cannot deny truth. How is it that you have two, I hate even using this, you have two women who been raped. One lives in a life that goes to prostitution, drugs, and the other one becomes a billionaire. Both had the same situation happen to them. What changed? And by that billionaire, I'm talking about Oprah Winfrey. Well, she's taken what was her fortress and turned it into her fuel. Where the other one is taking what happened and turn it into her pain and using her pain as a coping mechanism and to use it into this, as a victim mode instead of being able to grow from it. Now, holy shit, Kayvon, how can you say such a thing? I say that for the jaw dropping, like the big contrast, okay? Everyone just take it easy. Like, none of that is a good thing for anybody. But the challenge is this, is we can look at our situation and we can look at our job and we can look at everything that's going on in our life and look back in our, all the places we've been and all the things that we've gone through, and everyone's got their own shit going on. And we can look at it as the victim mentality, which this is consciousness, meaning a victim mentality consciousness is everything happens to me. So very easy, simple example of this, you lose your keys. A victim mentality person, consciousness level, says things like this: I lose my keys. I'm always losing my keys. My keys are always lost. Always happens to me. Then I was late for work. And then the friggin' person, it's just holy shit. Like that, I lived that life for so long without even knowing. I didn't know I was living that life until, I had to have the hard, talks and go through the hard work. And it's like, holy man. And when you are in that consciousness, you can't see other things. You're not creative. You're kind of in the survival mode. You're in your blinders are on. You can't see the forest through the trees. All the sayings we can say. So as a result of that, what kind of energy are you emitting?
Not good.
It's what? It's a closed off energy. It's not an abundant energy, that's for sure, right? So who wants to be around that energy? Because I'll tell you, people at different conscious levelsness hangs out with different people. So someone at the next level, which I call is the buy me consciousness. So buy me, simple for everyone to understand. I lost my keys. Their response is, I got to go find my keys. I lost them. The only person that's going to find those keys is me. My responsibility. Let me go looking for them. Right? They're not going, oh, this always happens to me and oh, poor me. They take charge. Those type of consciousness levels, they don't want to hang out with the to me victims. They just doesn't work. And then you have the third, there's four, but the third is the through me. That's where everything happens through me. That's where, hey, because it's all good. There's a reason for it, kind of like, hey, the keys got missed. When I need them, they'll show up and it's all going to work itself out. Maybe my wife will find them. Maybe my kids will find, is it just a different energy? Those people live in an abundant energy. They live in an open mind energy. They understand the things in life. And I'm just telling you stuff that I've gone through, which I'm telling you is all related to sales and life. or we wouldn't be having this conversation, is those types of people know that they're going to have good days, they're going to have bad days. Those types of people know that there is no end. There is not this when I get to. See, victim people have this when I get to, or I'll never get to because. The buy me people are, I'm going to get there. When I get there, this will happen. But what you realize in life, you realize in sales, and you realize in just in so much heartache and troubles and tribulations, everything, is there's two things can exist at the same time. You can have good, you can have bad. You can have a great day, you can have a bad day. It doesn't matter. It's about how you deal with it. It's how you show up. It's how you allow it to affect your life. It's about how you affect all that energy to control your subconscious internally, and the decisions you make and how you speak and where you come from will determine the results you get.
Well, the example you gave is spot on. By the way, I don't know, I'm guessing you've never read my book, but it literally, Oprah is exactly one of the things that I talk about. So you and I have been living very parallel lives, and it's awesome. I love it. And you're right. People don't want to hear this. Like, Kayvon, no, I'm not being a victim. Well, yeah, you are. And that's okay. By the way, we all choose to at certain points of our life, of our day. I give the example all the time. When I'm driving in the fast lane and somebody's driving in the slow lane, I fall into victim mode every time. It drives me bananas. But I'm like, why are you doing that? And it's like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like I have no control.
You and I are cut from the same cloth. It's the same way, right? Like we talk about how I don't want anyone to think that, oh, my life's so great and I'm always in this positive mindset. No, when I'm driving to someone in the slow lane too, I'm the, what are you doing? Right. But yeah, we can fall in and out of it. I think the key, what you just did there though, is to acknowledge it, is to acknowledge it and to know, hey, it's okay. It happens. Can we fix it? The quicker we can acknowledge and fix it, the quicker we can get to the better side of it. And
yeah, and like you said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you talked about with the Oprah versus the other gal, not allowing it to define you, right?
Yeah.
We all have our trauma, as you said. We all have our story, our negative. I promise you, I don't know anyone in this world that doesn't have trauma, adversity, something has struck them. How you respond to it, and I say respond, not react, how you respond, and if you're going to allow that to define you. And that is where I think I'm really glad we're having the conversation, because I feel like I've been on a soapbox often having this conversation, and the parent deaf thing or just washing over us. Yeah. So often people are like, but I want to be the victim because now you feel for me. Now I'm giving you sympathy and empathy.
Well, they want the victim because it's comfortable.
Right.
It's what you just said. A key word here you said is identity. And I want to, because we're talking about sales, I want to tie it back just for a second to the identity of a salesperson. So in my teachings and my courses, when people work with me, the concept I tell them is, what cape are you wearing? Mm-hmm. Because you want to be, they say, Kayvon, what was it that really switched it for you? When I was doing the high ticket sales as a salesperson, this is when I was a salesperson. What switched it for me was when I realized I'm not a salesperson Monday to Friday, and then I'm Kayvon the party and having fun on the weekends. What switched was when I realized when I put on that cape for life, and I am a salesperson or a high ticket closer 24/7. So that means everything I do, every decision I make comes from that place. It's not I get to take it off and fake half of it. Because what happens, I realize, is then you're not being congruent. What was happening is then it was taking me till Tuesday to get back into the seat, not Monday. And then by Wednesday, I found my flow. And then what? By Friday, I lost it again. And you're always just chasing this thing. And the day when I realized, no, this is a 24/7. This is not what I do anymore. This is who I am. That's what changed everything for me. My identity of who I am and what I did was changed. So what these people that, we talk about these people that stuck in this victim mentality, their identity is just attached to it because they're comfortable in that identity. They don't have an identity that's not that, because they don't know what that is, because God forbid they get uncomfortable. And I was just talking to someone here I love this stuff because I was just to do with sales. Everything we're talking about is sales. Everything. And we're just talking about the two, I'm sure like the idea of the two doors, right? You got door number one. Door number one is everything of comfort. Door number one, it's clear. Door number one, you know it. But chances are when you walk through it, you're going to be complacent. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be fulfilled. But hey, it's comfortable. You know it. Hey, right? People are miserable. They say things like, oh, I got 10 more years to retirement. When I hear that, I go, 10 more years? You're going to give another decade to this job that you and I both know you hate for retirement? Like, to me, it's ludicrous. Like, again, that's my own personal opinion. Or what's door number 2? Well, door number 2 has everything you've ever wanted, your highest self, your dreams, all your goals, your aspirations, your best self, your ability to give your kids the better education, go to different things and blah, 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 blah. But it's not clear. It's messy as hell. And it's hard. And it's scary. What door do you go through? Well, most people take an easy life, and that's why their life is hard. For guys like you and I, entrepreneurs, they do life they take a harder door and take a harder life. But that's why their life is easy.
Mm-hmm. You know the crappy thing for the people choosing door 1? They retire, and the stats on people retiring and how long you live afterwards is not great, guys. Just so we're clear.
Here's the thing. It isn't actually great. Like, I actually believe the moment you stop, like the moment you retire is the day you start dying. I honestly believe that. Like, again, I'm not saying that insulting to people, because some people are like, hey, I've been retired for 20 years. Great. Like, you figured it out. I'm not. But like, for me, I believe the moment I say I retired is day 1 of my day is that I'm starting to die. Because what are you doing? You're going to stop
so much fishing and golf, right?
Like, how much can you do of that? How much can you actually do of that before you start to go numb? Before your new identity becomes just that.
Well, and this is where we're going to talk about doing hard things. This is why when you get challenged as an entrepreneur, get challenged in a relationship, lose someone, it sucks. I'm with you. It absolutely sucks.
It hurts.
Just say thank you. Because I promise you, as you're dealing with this, you are building something that's going to be that much better. And I know you guys have heard me say it, but this is such a great point, because so often we're dealing with hard stuff. That's where the victim and the woe is me, like, Kayvon, let me tell you how hard my day is. Well, if Kayvon sits there and puts his hand on my shoulder and says, oh man, Jim, that's really, he's not doing anything for me.
No.
If he says, you know what, man, I hear you. I understand what you're going through. That's tough. Now, what are we going to do about it? Yeah. Now that's a coach. And that's ultimately what we need to be doing for ourselves or for the people that we love.
Every day, everybody should be doing that for everybody. I mean, that you watch how the world would change if those were the questions we were asking. Hey, it really sucks. You had your day. What's your plan to get out of it? What's the plan for you to make sure this doesn't happen tomorrow? Are you willing to do the work again? Are you willing to go to places you never wanted to go? Places that you've suppressed for so long, so we can stop this behavior, stop this thing? You willing to do the thing most people won't, so you can have the life that most people will never have? Or you just want to stay comfortable? Because I can't help you.
For you, brother, to operate at, I'll call it a very high vibrational frequency, because ultimately, look, this is why I love doing podcasting. I want to go run through this wall right now, and just because we're talking about stuff I love, right? This is the stuff that gets me fired up. For you, I know you said off air you don't have specific ritual or routines that you really follow, but you said my identity is X, which means you raise your vibration to the highest level of frequency that you can. What are some of the things you're doing that are allowing you to operate at that level?
So right now is doing that harder work internally, but being very cognitive, I would say, and self-aware right now. It's an internal discipline that I'm creating. But like after I get off a conversation, like for instance, I had a conversation with a sales rep yesterday. They got really defensive, which then got me, like, after a while, like, I started getting defensive. I stopped immediately in that situation. But after I got off that call, instead of me going, oh, I'm so mad at that person, I can't believe they did that, and trying to run, and then trying to write them a letter of why they were wrong, I literally said, what did I do wrong? Like, what happened? What did I say? How did I say what I said? What can I do differently so that never happens again? And so I'm really trying to be cognitive of that, because I believe it takes so much time to unprogram the programmed, to change the subconscious. It's not one day, it's not 1 week, it could be years. They actually, psychologists believe it's about 8 months. But the moment you do one thing like bad, where you say the reverse of your old self, it takes back 3 months. So it's like 8 solid months of not being triggered and going to that back place. And I'm like, holy, I'm at my age, 40 years old, spent 40 years in that subconscious, and you want me to go 8 months without slipping, and every time I slip it's about 3 months back. I'm going, I don't have that time, because I know where my life ended up at 40. And as great things were, and as amazing as things I have in my life, there are also things that I know that could be better. And I don't want my back half or the other half of it to be what the first half was. I want to be a better version of it. I want to be able to grow and get to the next places I want to go. And in order to do that, I have to change. I can't expect my 40 and 50s to be different if I'm going to operate like I did in my 30s and 40s. It just doesn't work like that. So I'm going, okay, well, what do I need to do? Well, I need to be very, very cognitive. I need to watch how I'm talking. I need to watch what I'm saying, what I'm doing, how I'm communicating, how I'm thinking, how I'm operating, how I'm reacting. And I need to make sure that I'm being very aware of these things so I can get to that next level. So my discipline right now is how I am not trying to be a better version of myself to get to the end result. I'm right now in the mode of I'm in the pursuit of just everyday greatness.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for the people that are in sales, I hope you heard what he said. What did I do? He asked for feedback, and he actually asked for it. I'll tell you what, you want a tactic, a tool, everybody that you have a no sale with, ask him at the end, what could I have done different or better? Not asking for the sale.
Yeah.
But so you can learn and watch what happens. Because you're so vulnerable, do you know how many sales will come from that simple question?
Alone, people will you know what will happen is they'll put their guard down that you never got down in the whole conversation, and then you'll start having a real conversation that will most likely lead to either a solid yes of a sale or at least a solid no. Right. And that's the key. A lot of salespeople, I see them, they get so caught up in the middle. In the middle, there's a yes, there is a no. In every sales call, 3 things happen. It's a yes, it's a no, and it's a lesson. Mm-hmm. Not a maybe. Maybes don't work for me. Sitting on the fence doesn't work for me. Like I tell them, like it's not my thing. It doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve you. Because there's other things that are way more important in our lives that we don't need to make these, prolonged decisions that shouldn't be these long decisions, depending on the sales cycle, obviously all the stuff, right? So we've nailed some stuff, but I want to make sure that if anybody listening and is in sales, I'll tell you this: the secret ingredients to massive, massive success is you figuring out who you are and what you want to represent in your identity. When you do that and you attach that to the greatness of the way you speak and your offer and the things you talk about and all those awesome one-liners and objections and all of that other stuff, that is when you will become so wildly successful, people will want to start becoming you.
So good, you guys. I mean, again, you guys know how I feel about sales. This is how I made my living. I absolutely love, and there's so many people I'm thinking of, brother, and I'm not going to say their names, but I want to just go destroy them with this, what we're talking about right now. I want all the gurus, the sales gurus, saying all the stuff that we know is horseshit, and I just want to wipe it off with this episode because it's so good.
Yeah. The manipulation, the tactics, all the.
Dude, I got a guy in my mind.
There's a guy I'm thinking about too, but like,
right?
And
he's big, right?
And it's just so, for me, it's just so unauthentic, like acting and just, it's as you say, it's cringe.
It's cringe.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We are literally almost out of time. I want my audience, because this is so good. I'm telling you guys, whether you want to have a better sales, great. Go follow Kayvon, 100%. If you want to have a better life, go follow Kayvon. This is really, really good stuff for my audience that they didn't get a chance to know you, because you and I didn't know one another prior to this.
No.
But I have a brother in arms across, you're over in Canada, I'm here in Florida, so we're ways away, but we're saying the same thing. I want more people to go follow you and listen to what you have to say. Where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Simple place is just kayvon.com, KAYVON.com. And from there, you can get to all my socials. But you type in Kayvon Sales, I'll show up.
Done. In 30 seconds or less, brother, is there anything else that you want to make sure to share? Because this was just goodness all through.
I'll just reiterate, honestly, what I did say, because I think it's one of the most powerful things that I talk about and I believe in, which is very simply is just remember, if you are not happy with the things that are going on in your life, if you're not happy with the income you're making, the relationships that you have, the people you're hanging out with, the connections that you have, that is a direct reflection of you. Meaning it's direct reflection of the way you think, the decisions you make, and the energy you bring. If you want to change that, you need to change you first. The hardest thing to do is to look within, and the most powerful thing to do is to look within. Which one do you want?
So good. We got to leave it with that, man. It's so good. Thank you for being here and just being awesome, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. I love it.
Told you, this is going to 100% help you in sales. It's going to help you in your relationships. It's going to help you just in life. Everything he talked about, from being authentic, listening, and actually hearing what they had to say, not just waiting to have a rebuttal, but actually listening to what they have to say, having an outcome, and why are we going there? Not always saying yes to sales, making sure that this is actually the right fit for the right person. I just threw out, man, I swear to you, I was looking in a mirror so often. He would say something. I'm like, gosh, did we literally grow up together? Did we read all the same books? I love the conversation. His energy is absolutely incredible. And again, sales is not a bad thing. Sales is an incredible thing. But what he was really talking about is taking care of yourself, having this holistic thing for you so you can show up as the best version of yourself. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and I hope you did too. Do me a favor, make sure to share this out with somebody that you know, love, and care about. Let's keep growing the show. Let's keep having incredible guests on. It's way too much fun, and I get so much. I have energy right now that I'm going to have for a long, long time because of that conversation, and that was all due to Kayvon. All due to our guests, and it's also all due to you guys constantly showing up, sharing this show out. So until next time, remember, your mindset matters. I appreciate y'all. We'll talk soon.